A very good morning to all. I, Ms. Poonam Patil, Assistant Professor, Kokang Gyanpith Rahul Dhaka College of Pharmacy and Research Institute, welcome you all for the webinar on prototyping. That is, process, prototype design and development organized by Institutions Innovation Council, Internal Quality Assurance Cell, and Rural Entrepreneurship Development Cell of Konkan Gyanpith Rahul Dhaka College of Pharmacy and Research Institute, Karzat. Before starting with the program, let me first acknowledge the presence of eminent personality, that is today's resource person, Mr. Sujit Dolai sir. Sujit Dolai, founder of These Solutions, Mumbai, and respected Dr. Mohan Kale sir, principal of Konkan Gyanpith Rahul Dhaka College of Pharmacy and Research Institute, Mr. Ajay Kharche sir, assistant professor, pharmaceutical chemistry department, Konkan Gyanpith Rahul Dhaka College of Pharmacy and Research Institute. So, light is a symbol of knowledge and it removes ignorance. And it's our tradition to start program by Saraswati Pujan and lamp lightning. Today, we will have virtual lamp lightning ceremony as a tribute to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. So, I request Ajay sir to please play the virtual lamp lightning ceremony.
शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
Thank you, Ajay sir. I feel proud to share with you all that since lockdown, we have conducted more than 225 webinars on various topics for the benefit of professionals, faculties, and students from various fields. It's our principal sir's vision to conduct 75 events in this year as a part of celebration of 75th Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, continued knowledge imparting lecture series, and I am very happy to share this is our 12th event under this activity. Today, we are making one more such effort by inviting eminent speaker who is going to share his expertise on the topic of prototyping, process, prototype design, and development. A prototype is a draft version of a product that allows you to explore your ideas and show the intention behind a feature or the overall design concept to users before investing time and money into development. A prototype can be anything from paper drawing, that is in case of low fidelity, to something that allow click through few pieces of content to a fully functioning site that is of high fidelity. So I think our resource person will explore more on this topic. So before handing over session to our resource person, I would like to request our respected principal sir to share few words on this occasion. So over to you, Kale sir.
Thank you, Poonam Madam. At the outset, I would like to welcome Mr. Sujit Dolai, founder T Solutions, Mumbai. Actually, I would also like to welcome all organizers as well as delegates and faculty members and professionals who have joined this webinar series. Welcome to you all. When Poonam Madam talked to me that, sir, we will be arranging this topic, I was also not sure which topic it is. The word itself, prototyping, was new to me, though I was acquainted to some extent, but in our entire academics, this word is not used in our syllabus also. So I told her that please arrange this. This is a new topic, though we have arranged more than 200 webinars, but we have not taken this topic into consideration, which is most vital, important, and playing major roles. Dear delegates, participants, prototyping is an important tool in innovation. Prototyping is an important tool in creativity. Prototyping is important tool. It's your idea, your vision, which can be converted into the true formats. Whatever you think, it is, in other words, it is also called as imaginary engineering. We are from pharmacy field, and when some engineering topics are dealt with, uh, we are not sure what is it. But dear delegates, prototyping is an important tool nowadays which is being used to devise medical devices, to have implants, to have surgeries in robotics as well as in medicines. You imagine any shape of medicine, any dosage form, anything, it can be done through prototyping only. So it is a tool which speed up your ideology, convert it into the actual form. I will not go into much details, but very interesting topic, a new topic for all of us. It has many applications in the pharmaceutical industry as well as in healthcare, and it, along with 3D printing and all this type of things which we are doing nowadays, it's an important emerging field which each and every pharmacy student, faculties and professionals should be aware of. Thank you, Sujit Dolai sir, for accepting our invitation and being present here. Uh, and it will be nice to hear you also. Poonam madam, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your encouraging words as always. So now I would like to introduce our today's resource person, Mr. Sujit Dolai, sir, founder of The Solution. He has been executive leader for more than 16 years in pharmaceutical product development, in conceptualization to commercial, and has experience from preclinical formulation to validation of process for approved products, also skilled in collaborating with all stakeholders to achieve business objectives. He has a process experience overseeing ANDA and NDA projects, also proficiency in innovative product design and leading edge drug delivery technologies. Sir has worked as Deputy General Manager at Encube Ethicals Private Limited from April 2019 till September 21. He is leading a team of 12 scientists for product development, and he is actively working on the identification of platform technologies and ideation for the identification of lead candidates for further development. He also worked as principal scientist at Dr. Reddy's Laboratories Limited, Hyderabad. He worked as principal scientist at Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, Hyderabad. He also worked as research officer in Pharma Industries Limited. Sir has granted 4 US patents, and 7 provisional applications are also filed by the Sir. With this short introduction, now I would like to hand over the session to our today's expert, that is Mr. Sujit Dolai, sir. So, Sujit Dolai, sir, over to you.
Uh, thank you, Poonam, and thank you, Mohan sir. Uh, it is practically challenging for me. When I started interacting with Poonam about giving a lecture on this, because as you rightly mentioned, sir, this is such a broader subject. It is like putting into a 1 hour kind of thing. I think that is quite challenging for me to put all those things. However, I thought let's give some brief background, which may be quite encouraging to the mostly the academia and the professionals. So I tried my I try to put whatever I know as a student. I try to put it here. I'll come to this slide deck. So here, this is the topic, like prototype, process design and development, and prototyping. As sir has mentioned, like prototyping, this is be it engineering, be it pharmacy, before a prototype is nothing but prior to defining, or prior to a final figure, you need to come up with a uh, multiple prototypes, and you need to study and evaluate those things against the requirement, and try to come to a conclusion, and saying that okay, so if I go ahead with this kind of prototype, be it a formulation, be it a API, be it whatever the things are there, that helps it in generating a new idea kind of thing. uh, I'm here because I'm a student. Since last several years of working in the pharmaceutical industry, still I am a student. The reason being is that I learn each and every day, and science is really fascinating me about like how I'll discuss few of the slides on the how things are there which take more than a century to understand the science. uh, I'll discuss more there, and then I'm just try to be a student in my life. uh, Mahatma Gandhi, who is the father of our nation, he has mentioned once, like, it is health that is the real wealth, not the piece of gold and silver. And many of us, like, we always say, like, even I say to someone is that health is wealth, but are we really concerned about it? Like, until unless an illness or something happens to us, or our close relatives or someone, till that point we don't, like, this is my opinion, maybe others have different opinion. We don't like care much about health. uh, if something illness happens, then we realize that okay, oh, if I could have done this, then I could have been a better health. Like, if I could have a proper diet plan, then I could have avoided the angina. Or if I could have a better exercise, I could have not done like this. If I could have used, like, during working in the lab, in the chemistry lab, or the organic synthesis lab, if I could have used a, spectacles while experimentation, then it could not have fallen on my eyes or my dress or my clothing. So I think we somehow neglect this one. So uh, I'll briefly talk about the prototypes, but I just want to tell you something, something like what is the cost of, like, cost of good health. Like, as Mahatma Gandhi has mentioned, like, real health is the wealth. Can we measure, or somebody of us has measured, what is the cost of good health? I think, like, now, at that time, maybe due to absence of economics, or any other scientific methods, he just said a word, but now everything can be calculated. And next, I will talk something about the drug development process overview. Most of you might be knowing this, but I just want to reiterate, and I just want to give my thoughts on this. And because I have worked on several development, or several products which has been started from concept to commercialization in US. So I know, like, there are like, I have some practical experience on those things. So I just want to speak on certain things. And coming to the new product development, where I will be talking the major part, like, the prototypings, or the how prototype plays a significant role in the new product development, that I will talk. And the last part is the scope. Like, many of us, like, thinks pharma is already saturated. Maybe the new drugs are not coming, or we see that okay, maybe we don't see much more new drugs like as 10-20 years back. So do we have a scope? I just want to speak on that, so that I want specifically from support from the academia to work on that aspect, and you can certainly come up with something. And I'll give some examples over here, how academia has helped really, really into the development of a few drugs. Uh, First, cost of good health. Do you see this number? I think how many zero? 2, 3, 5, 3, 8. 11 zeros are here. And this translates to 8.3 trillion US dollars. And India's GDP is almost 2.5 to 2.7 trillion US dollars. So, which is this number is three times than the India's GDP. Do you know this number is the global healthcare expenditure in 2020? Yes, we can say that COVID had some amount of it, but COVID contributes only 4 to 5% into this number. And this number keeps on increasing in a rapid pace every year by year. And many regions. Why? Because the spending or the healthcare spending is so high in this region. Out of 8.3 trillion dollar, approximately 50%, which is equivalent to 4.1 trillion US dollar, is the US healthcare cost in 2020, and this is equivalent to 19.7% of US GDP. So in India, we are spending close to 3%, and it's some increasing path as compared to US. But yes, we are still lagging behind with respect to the healthcare expenditure, whether it's a medicines or whether it's a hospital, be it physicians. So we are still a long way to go, and I think in another 10-20 years, India will be also like spending good amount of money on the healthcare. And see, look at this number. Like if I say we have a like spending 8.3 trillion US dollar in the healthcare, and there are certain countries like Africa, and there are certain in India also there are certain class of people are there where they couldn't able to afford the food. See how much spending is there on the healthcare, and uh, so if we maintain ourselves well, like be it a proper diet, proper precautions, I think we can control with respect to the healthcare cost, and also with respect to uh, providing a better health. So there are like certain. I just want to discuss. There are several drugs are there which are a high selling drugs in world. Uh, the first one is the COVID-19 vaccines by Pfizer and BioNTech, which they sold close to 59 billion. And prior to COVID vaccines, there was a drug called as a Humira, which is a biologics by adalimumab, which is being manufactured by AbbVie, which is AbbVie is a pharmaceutical division of Abbott. In India, AbbVie is not there. Abbott is there, and in US and other Western countries, AbbVie is the doing the marketing for the all the pharmaceutical drugs, and they are being used for several autoimmune diseases, and which ranges from the psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis, atopic dermatitis, and there are several drugs, several diseases are there for which age of now, there is no known but the cause is not known, the function is not known. Still, it is happening, and people are spending on this, and the spending is close to 21 billion. Third one is the Moderna COVID vaccine. They also sold 17 billion. Fourth is by Merck, Keytruda, which is again a biologics. So this is for the various oncological treatment, and they sold close to 17 billion. And fifth one is Epixab and Eliquis by Bristol Myers Squibb, and this is for the blood clotting, and they sold close to 16.7 billion US dollar. So see, like for us in Indian company, like if we see Reliance or a Tata Group are the big companies, and I see or I even discuss with many people that see one of the drug sales is close to, like for example, you take not the COVID vaccines, like you can take Humira, which is close to 21 billion. Even Reliance entire sales might not be there equivalent to 21 billion, but the one drug they are selling uh, in the world, that is at 21 billion. It's one drug of a company. It's not the entire company. So what it boils down is that, see, all the pricing and all those things, it depends on the innovation cost, and there are there are certain profit and all those things are there, but still people are need of these drugs, where be it expensive, but people are ready to afford it. So here, like if we have some better health, I think that can be a uh, whatever they like if to me, I can sleep or I can go to bed without food, but I cannot sleep with a disease. So that is the bottom line, and people are spending, or government is spending so much money on the healthcare. Then coming to drug development overview, maybe you might have gone through or studied in your academia how the drug development starts. But I'll just describe a few of the things in elaborate what uh, you what are the each step, and then how does each step has a significant role with respect to each and every function. So generally, like the drug development, we say like is a it's divided into four phases. One is that in vitro and in vivo testing, which can be limited up to animals. Then the second part is on the humans. Third is the data review or the approval kind of approval process. Fourth is the post marketing surveillance. So coming to the first part, where in vitro and in vivo testing, where it involves basic research, where you try to identify which drug or which chemical, I'll say chemical instead of a drug, which chemical is effective, or which uh, chemical and which route of dosage form, or which route of administration is effective with to treat a certain disease. Or maybe in the other way around is that understand the certain diseases, like you can uh, there are every disease has their different mechanism of actions, and we have to, like for example, when we talk about for a acidity, so there are like proton pump inhibitors are there, then there are some simple alkalizers are there. So based on the disease condition, or based on the root, or based on the cause of the disease, the basic research starts, where we have to do a little bit research, where it comes with respect to like which drug can be effective. And then coming to early discovery, where you identify what dosage form, what is the concentration. It's like for example, uh, paracetamol is given 650 milligram, whereas the other drugs are given in 5 milligrams. Some drugs are there which is in microgram, and some are in insulin is in IU. So then we have to identify what is the ideal concentration, where we have to see, or what is the ideal concentration to control the disease, or maybe to control disease with reduced side effects. Then coming to the preclinical, where generally like before going to the human studies, so every country has their own regulatory authority. Like in India, it's DCGI, and in USFDA, sorry, in US it's USFDA, and EMEA in Europe. So every country has their own set of guidances. Is that what should be the preclinical studies requirement before going to clinical? Like for example, if we go for a uh, if we talk about US versus India. So in US, if we want to go for a any treatment on a human volunteers, if it is going to within 28 days, then we have to do a preclinical study in rats and mice, and that's good enough. But whereas in India we have a different setup, whether it's 28 days or whether it's a 3 month, we have to provide a preclinical data on 3 months. So in preclinical data, we have to submit or we have to show certain things like whether it's a efficacy and the side effects. Because before going to human, we have to have those understandings about efficacy and the adverse event or the side effects, better understanding before going to the human testing. Then again, under the clinical development, it has been classified into three: phase one, phase two, and phase three. Phase two is again further divided into phase 2A and phase 2B. Phase one, this is on a this has been done on a healthy volunteers, where it is to just to understand the safety profile. It's not with respect to efficacy. Phase 2A is really an efficacy study, and phase 2B, which is we call as a DRF, like dose range finding. So, like for example, paracetamol. Why 650? Why 500? So we have to have a dose ranging from 200 to 250, maybe 500, then 750, then 1000. And you try to come to a conclusion is that whether 650 milligram thrice a day. I think that is good, or by increasing the dose further from 650 to 1000, it doesn't have much impact. So based on various thing, you come to a conclusion is that which dosage form, which strength. Those are the things which you define in the phase 2B. Then based on the phase 2B data, like you identified the route of administration, you identified the dose. Then we have to do on a in a phase 3, which is a generally a multi-center study. It's not a single center, it's a multi-center study where it can range from patients can vary from 1000 to 2000, 3000, depending on the disease severity or disease, or the patient's availability. So then, based on the phase three data, where you just a second, you submit those things to regulatory agency, be it FDA or DCGA, for their review. And once it's got approved, then the fourth part, which is the surveillance, which is called as a can be also called as a phase 4 clinical studies, where it is just to monitor like how does the approved product works. And we might be knowing that there are several drugs has been withdrawn or discontinued from market due to the safety or efficacy issue. So while developing from stage 1 to stage 3 or stage 4, uh, you might have seen this reverse pyramid structure, where close to 5 to 20,000 of the moiety, or you can say uh, uh, chemical or the drugs, or maybe you can say prototypes, are there, where you work on those things, then coming to you funnel out which is the best one, and that comes to 250. And so similarly, like I'll say in a short is that to get a one approved drug, you need to work on more than 20,000 prototypes, and which will give you a one drug. So here, I just want to reiterate here one more time is that here the prototype is really plays a key role. The reason being is that here, while developing the formulation, or while developing of the any of the pharmaceutical drugs, the faster you fail, you save the more money, because you don't want to take a failed drug from the drug discovery due to one or some issue, and then take it to the final clinical research and all those things, where you spend lots of money, and uh, and end result is disastrous. So I'll just go through how much time it takes, and what is the expenditures. So from the pre till the lead compound optimization, it takes close to 1 to 3 years, depending on the I'll say luck, depending on the science, depending on the capability, and almost it cost, like, this is an average cost based on several molecules, and based on several literatures. It's comes around 196, so that translates to 200 million. In Indian currency, it's close to 1500 crores. Then coming to preclinical development, which is again 122 million, and clinical trial, which take from phase 1 to phase 3, which takes close to 6 to 7 years, and the cost is close to 1 to 2.5 billion. So after spending this much of money in developing the drug, getting the approval, reviewed by eminent personals, regulatory agencies, still there are some failures are there, uh, and those drugs are being withdrawn from market. So I'll give some certain some of the examples. So there are several drugs out there, but I just want to start with Contegran. Maybe you might be knowing this drug. This is being studied as a case study in our academia. This is nothing but this has been withdrawn from market from in 1961. Similarly, this is Valdecoxib. This is by Pfizer, and this is again a kind of NSAID, or the painkiller. Due to its effect on the cardiovascular effect, FDA has asked them to withdraw from the market or discontinue from the market in 2004. And at the same time, there was one more drug called as a Rofecoxib. This is by Merck, and uh, having the Valdecoxib and Rofecoxib, the mechanism of action is almost similar, and there is a, although it is not reported any side effects, but based on the Valdecoxib report, Rofecoxib has been discontinued by Merck on their own in 2004. Maybe some of us might be knowing this Zantac ranitidine tablet, 150 mg. Uh, this is discontinued worldwide in 2020. I'll say worldwide, but still there are some of the in India it is available. So the problem with ranitidine is that it generates, like, it converts to one more impurity, which is called as a nitrosamine impurity, nitrosamine, and which may cause cancer at the level of I think 10 to 12 ppb, parts per billion, not even ppm. So it has been discontinued by this is the drug by GSK, Glaxo. One more drug is that lorcaserin tablets, so which is being used for the weight loss, and this also, this has been approved, and uh, there are certain cases are there where it may cause cancer, so this drug has been discontinued. Wo- One more drug is ingenal mebutet gel, which is being used for the treatment of warts, and there also, it has been observed that it may cause cancer, or there are certain cases were identified during the uh, phase 4 clinical trial, and this has been discontinued from the market. So altogether, what I want to say is that, like, prototyping at maybe like see for example, you take any of the drug, and several billions of dollars has been developed or are spent in developing the formulation, and for example, in a year or two, if the product is going off the market, then ultimately the problem is that the investment made by the companies, or the any organization which is unviable for someone to withdraw from the market due to the safety reason. If a better prototype has been done, or if they could have identified, or if they could have sensed at any point of time, be it preclinical, if you don't understand well during the each and every stages of the drug development, and if you didn't design the drug in that context, then you end up with a market withdrawal, and which is the entirely loss to a company. Like, see, these are the some of the company like Pfizer, Merck, and GSK. They can sustain because they are selling other drugs, and they can generate revenue from some other. But for any other company, or for any other organization, it is very, very challenging to stop the product after spending 5 billion of dollar on the development of certain drugs. Then I just want to talk something on the new product development, and where uh, prototype is more important, and uh, what is the major requirement, and how does it really help. So every company, or every organization, or I'll say that every individual has their a different way of developing a process, or developing any kind of a drug, or a pharmaceutical product. The same, like, it is not etched on the stone, is that okay, so you have to follow, this is the ideal way. So it depends on company to company, and it depends on how we adapt into the system, and how we come to a conclusion. So there are several ways of that, and here I'm just presenting what I am practicing. One is the first is that idea generation. Like, you come to like, why I will work on this concept. Like, for example, uh, you consider anything, like here now in India, it is the Dolo 650. Like earlier, the Dolo 650 is nothing but it's a paracetamol 650 milligram, whereas the earlier it was all the drugs which is available in the markets are 375 or 500 milligram of the paracetamol. But what it lead to the thing is that maybe if you give another 100 or 150 milligram of paracetamol, maybe this may give you a better relief, at least from the fever due to COVID, or and any other indication, because Dolo 650 is not indicated for the treatment of COVID. So I don't want to say that it is the for the treatment of COVID, but yeah, it may be for subsiding the body temperature, or something else. Then, like, then come to a product definition. So you have to define a product, like what exactly I am really looking at. Like paracetamol 500 versus paracetamol 650, I want to add another 150 milligram of paracetamol into the formulation, but what exactly I want, whether I want 8 hours versus 12 hours, whether I want the drug to work, whether your fever is having 103, 104, that also can work. So we have to define well, is that how well we want to place the drug over here. Then here the major thing comes as a prototyping. So here, in the first two steps, we come to a conclusion, or no, I'll not say a conclusion. We put it onto a paper. Is that okay? This is my concept. This is what it should. It should show this thing, and how it will do. So then the prototyping is the answer to that. You have a, like tablets of different hardness, maybe of injectable, like for example, long acting injectables are there, whereas it works on like a month, 2 or 3 or 6 months. Then come to the detailed designing. Once we have a prototype ready, then we have to go for a detailed designing. Then once we get a detailed designing, then we have to come to a validation and testing. I whatever the prototyping is there, like as sir has mentioned here sometime back, is that all the 3D printing and all those things, we it's ready, but we have to test this in a real time scenario, be it on a patient, or be it on a volunteer, be it on a animal. We have to do those things, and validation and testing, whether it is meeting the criteria or not. Then commercialization, or I can say, like, if you get something on the validation and testing, maybe we can go back to any stage, like if our thought is not getting validated, maybe again we can go back to idea generation, saying is that no, we need something else. I'll cite one example here. I have worked on a project, uh, that is clobetasol cream. So in India, like that sometime I feel bad about our thoughts, and how we use the drugs. Like we don't, like, although there is a schedule H drug or something, we don't we can get that as a like OTC. So one of the drug that is called as a clobetasol propionate, usually in a topical formulation, any kind of steroids in US you cannot use beyond 2 weeks, and and beyond 2 weeks you have to give a rest, or you have to discontinue any steroids for another 2 weeks. Then only you can apply for another 2 weeks. So like for some of the patients, like where you have to continuously apply for several weeks without the failure, because once you discontinue the drug, what you will do, you can't sit idle. Like a patient, you cannot say patient that okay, you have been given drugs for a couple of weeks, then you have to stop it, and you need to wait for another 2 weeks for the second dose. It is quite impractical for a patients to say, or to it's not possible. So uh, the problem with the steroids are the generally these acts on the uh, pituitary glands, and it causes several side effects. So then it suppresses a pituitary gland, and there are like a long topic is there on that. So we developed certain thing, is that, is there any possibility, is that we can minimize the side effects, and prolong the dosage application. So what we have done is that we tried several strengths, or lowering the drug concentration. Clobetasol being a high potent steroids. So what we have done is that we have, instead of 0.05 percentage, we screened several strengths, zero point zero 0.01 and 0.02 and kind of thing. What we have observed is that if we use 0.025% of clobetasol propionate, that we can apply for 4 weeks without suppressing the HPA axis. HPA stands for hypothalamus pituitary axis. So without suppressing the HPA axis, we can go for the 4 weeks. So here it was like we have to study those things, and so here if I say idea generation, is that my idea is to prolong the dosage of clobetasol cream. Then definition will be uh, my okay, so this will be there, and the release will be this much, and this should be there in the plasma at this concentration, and all those the characteristics, and even there is a quality parameters, like what should be the appearance, what should be the viscosity, what's, because you cannot have a, like, you cannot give a wax, or you cannot give a bar kind of thing and say that okay, or you can apply less and you can do. So then come to prototyping. So whatever I have defined there, like for the disease, when I consider about the disease, when I consider about the drug, we have to develop several prototypes. How we can control the drug release from the site of application to the skin, but it should limit, or it should not go beyond the skin to the systemic circulation, because once it reaches systemic circulation, it's going to the suppress HP axis. So this we have done on a small scale. Then detailed designing, where we want to go for a scaling up, like whether if like there are certain cases, maybe you might have observed in your academia research, or in any kind of research you have seen, is that it works on a small scale, but the moment you go for a scaling up, it doesn't work. So you have to identify, or the vice versa also happens, like you can make in a small scale, but you cannot make in a large scale. For example, like the Tesla, they can make from a like single car to 1 lakh car. So that is the beauty of the Tesla. Whereas other companies, so every company, like you talk about any electric vehicle, why they couldn't able to move, or why they are not equivalent to Tesla. So they have their own problem. So there, there we need to have detailed designing, where we have to understand the manufacturing process, where we have to understand there are certain things like uh, what I'll say, do I'll say that QBD. You use QBD to understand this one, and you use QBD to understand what is the critical process parameter. You use QBD to identify the critical material attribute, and followed by validation and testing. And once you are validating the things, you go ahead for the commercialization. Almost I have discussed the entire process flow here, but I'll go to each and every slide, and I'll discuss couple of more things what we have to do in each and every case, and what specifically I am doing for my company. Then like, how do we generate idea, like that is the biggest challenge in any organization, is that like maybe you might have also faced during the preparation of thesis, or not thesis, like selection of the subjects during the your project work, be it your post graduation or graduation, some work if you want to do, what concept you will be doing. It is not like okay, if this drug is there, if this drug is there in tablet, can I make it a capsule? Okay, if this drug is there in tablet, can I make it a capsule? Narratives, like what is the real pain, and this can be done on a two-way. One second. One is the online, where you go through various literature, be it books, be it in journals kind of thing, and you come to a conclusion. Blogs, people write blogs, like whether they are maybe they are, that's from a patients, from the physicians, they write blogs saying that okay, this is working, this is not working, or this is the real problem. Third is the survey, like you got something, like whether uh, whether any you got some leads, then you try to do a survey. You give some things to the online review to, or online survey to the some of the physicians who are into those domain, or some of the patients, those who are suffering from the same disease. Then that you can do. The other one is the feedback, like those patients who are taking, like there is a recently, not recently, I'll say that there are around a few years back, in 2015 or 16, Dr. Reddy has launched one product that is called as a MetSmall. Metformin is nothing but this is metformin, small tablet. Earlier, metformin that comes to be a like a 600 mg, 800 mg, or 1 gram tablet, which is very difficult for someone to swallow a 1 gram tablet. So, because it's not the only API, there are certain other excipients are there which makes the tablet bulkier, which looks like a tablet intended for a veterinary purpose. So they discuss with different patients, and they come to a conclusion that is that okay, no, can is there any possibility we can come down, reduce the size from the bigger to the smaller one? So they launched that's a met small. Offline is that like okay, maybe a few of you can be sit together and see that okay, you focus on uncertain diseases and understand this is more by brainstorming, and see that where you see the lack of science or lack of understanding is there. Discuss with physician, discussing with patients, and do a market research uh, like can anything can be done now I'll say that a year or two back, Move was there. I think a higher version of Move has come, that is by Sun Pharma. I don't remember. Similarly, Cherikov was there, which is used to given kids, even for the adults. It is twice a day. Now they have come up with a something that's called as Cherikov 12, which will give a relief of 12 hours. So that if to me, I'm going to office, or maybe those who are going to work outside, or for the kids, carrying a medicines or carrying a syrup along with your office bag, that's quite messy. But if Cherikov 12 will give you a relief for 12 hours, so if morning 8 o'clock you take, the next dose is in the evening 8 o'clock. So you can cover at least 12 hours in a day. So that gives you that's based on the market research. You come to a conclusion. What is the idea generation? Then product definition. So see, all idea we cannot be we cannot spend money on each and every idea. Okay, I do see. Okay, so if there is a problem, then let's change this one. But it may not have a market potential. So as we see, I'll again going back from pharma to again electrical vehicles. So towards the now everybody is talking about electric vehicles, and approximately 1% of our vehicles are electric vehicle. But do you know in 19 or early 20th century, 1920 or 1930, the electric vehicle was close to 30%. But the exploration of oils like petrol and diesel, this made a better option is that okay, you don't need to charge anywhere, like you don't need to charge the vehicle, so that you need to charge for longer period of time. So at that time the petrol and diesel are the easiest way to do. So if Tesla could have tried to do this the 10 or 20 years ahead, or like in 1980 or 1990, maybe the model might have failed. So we have to understand the market size, the requirement, and understand the revenue model, how it is going to generate the revenue, and what sort, whether, for example, like many of us might have been knowing, is that most of the AIDS drug are being shipped to, or are being manufactured and shipped to African countries. Because if I want to make the AIDS drug and send it to in other countries, developed countries like US or Europe, maybe the system or the requirement is not there, so the revenue model won't be there. There are certain drugs are there in US which is required, or which require certain regulations. So we have to follow that one. For example, here in India, if I want to develop a drug which falls into the DPCO category, then I don't because in DPCO there are certain drugs are there which you can't sell beyond that certain point, certain price. But if you want to invest something and you want to bring some innovation into that, and that will be a breakthrough innovation, from where you will get that the spending, or like how much you will get from that from the, can you recover the expense from the commercial models? Then define the requirements, like what exactly you want from the product. You define the product, like we like again, I don't want to stick to only one drug, but there are certain drugs are there where you define the drug as per what is exactly you are looking at. Then here prototyping is what, here I'll say that is called as a, what should be looks like or acts like uh the prototype is nothing but like, if I want to if my finished product is a parental, it, the prototype cannot be a tablet, the prototype should be an injection. So here we have to identify, or we have to see is that what should be, what should be the final product looks like and acts like whether I cannot say, or my prototype cannot be like okay, this product is going to act immediately, so then this need to be given IV, or this need to be locally. Then we have to see which part of the body, then whether it's a sublingual, then we have to see that it should be a fast dissolving, or if it is to the topicals, then it should have its own thing. Because the same thing you cannot, or the same composition you cannot do for all the drugs. So here prototyping is nothing but what should be the looks like and acts like. That is the concept, and you have to identify, be it a tablet, be it capsule, maybe whatever the dosage forms you are intending, that should be here, it should be ready. Then detailed designing, here we have to see is that what is the market plan, like how you want to sell the drug, or sell the medicines, and how should be the business plan. Because without a business plan or market plan, like nobody want to invest, or nobody want to do a charity. Then come to validation and testing. You go through all the testing, like be it a chemical, be it a physical, be it pharmacologically, whether it is working on that aspect. We have to validate our thought process, what is the intention to do, or how the product need to work on this area, that need to be validated. And it should, the prototype, whatever we have prepared, it should work as we have defined in our earlier process. What should it should meet? If it is not meeting that criteria, then we have to go back again to the ideation stage, that whether is there any scope, or else like we cannot go the same thing as to the market. And then commercialization, it is nothing but scaling up. It should we should have scale capacity to scaling up whatever it is there. And marketing, if we don't have a good marketing, like there are several products out there which is really good, but they couldn't be able to capture the market because of poor marketing. So I think like I discuss most on the product, how the product development, and what should be the prototype. How, see, how we have to do a prototype, it depends specifically on the what is the idea, like the concept. It varies from concept. Like if I want to make a injectable, I should not use 3D printing. If I want to like I'll say that I am working on a project which is for the uh, management of a pain, and the drug is directly delivered to the urinary bladder. So we are working on a polymer formulation where it should act in such a way that it should not, once it gets administered, it should not come out of the urinary bladder. It should stay for 7 days. It should not irritate the urinary bladder. It should not, or I'll say that it should float in the urine. it should not sink in the urine. So then, and the shape and size should be such that it should release the drug in a predetermined manner, be it again it's a pH specific, whether it should release only at pH 8, because it has to work based on the disease condition, it has to be in certain category. So what I mean to say is that the concept of new product development may follow this way, but as prototyping is there, or any step, it depends on the concept. The same concept I cannot say use the okay, I have a concept or I have a prototype ready for this one, let's use it for something else. So it varies from topic to topic, or whether the from the concept to concept. So this is what we have to do. And many of us uh, think or say is that okay, maybe the pharma industry is saturated. Literally, many of my colleagues, they used to say that okay, bahut ho gaya. And for now, we now have a drug for everything, so we don't. I don't see any new drugs. Or when we are developing any generic formulation, then we say that okay, there are no new drugs are coming up, so the generic industry is going to die, or there is no much more scope in the pharmaceutical industry. I would say is that we know very little. I'll tell a couple of stories about development of certain drugs. Uh, so I'll say here is that I even we know the tip of the iceberg. There are lot many things are there which we really don't know how deep the iceberg is. We really don't know. And yes, we have to explore. And I would say is that as a pharmaceutical professional, this is our duty to identify the real needs of the uh, uh, real needs, and for a better health of the nation, or for the human as a whole world, we have to provide our effort. And it doesn't happen it happened overnight. It takes its own time, but I'll tell a couple of stories about certain drugs. Nitroglycerin. So the moment I say nitroglycerin, it comes to our mind as a it is a sublingual tablet, and for angina it's to be used. Do you know it has been discovered in 1847 by Sobrero? Okay, so here, when he discovered the drug, it was he tried to test on his tongue, and he mentioned, or he has noted, that it gives a violent headache. Forget about angina. Then Herring, a couple of years later, he thought that maybe as a homeopathic remedy, we say, like cures like. So he tried to use this as a homeopathic remedy, and he tried to develop the drug for a headache. And Alfred Nobel, many of us know that he started manufacturing nitroglycerin in Sweden as an explosive. And during the course in 1876, William Murrell, he identified that okay, not the minute quantity, even angina, doctors prescribed him nitroglycerin, and he outrightly refused, because he know that it causes violent headache. So he never took nitroglycerin as a a drug to the treatment of angina. So it has been close to, like I'll say that from 2022, it has been, I can say that it has been more than 175 years before still nitroglycerin is there. But do we know the actual cause? So from 1876 to close to end of the 20th century, nobody knew how nitroglycerin really works. So there were three scientists. Uh, these are the three scientists. They discovered that how nitroglycerin works. So nitroglycerin works by releasing nitric oxide, and this helps in reducing, or which helps in the angina. And now there are several drugs, or several nitric oxide uh, are being evaluated for various activity. So I just want to say here is that if you see the timeline, it is from 1847 to 1998. So more than a century it took to understand the nitroglycerin and how it works. And still, I'll say that again, I'll go back to my previous slide where I talked about it's we only knew the tip of the iceberg. There are a lot many things to know. So maybe there are certain other things are there which we really, really, really don't know. Uh, then I'll talk another drug, ivermectin. When I say ivermectin, maybe many of us we have seen like scouting for this drug a couple of years back when uh, COVID-19 was at its peak. We used like anything. Let's see like how ivermectin has been come into picture. So he is the scientist Satoshi Amura. So they found a chemical that's called as ivermectin, not ivermectin, ivermectin from a bacteria uh, near a single soil sample near the Japanese Gulf coast. And what they identified is that this ivermectin can act as an anti-parasite. However, he worked in a Japanese Japanese university, so they started developing this drug. This was not intended to develop as a drug kind of. Then Merck and the Japanese one of the Japanese university, that's Kitasato Institute, they started developing or working on this ivermectin. But what they found is that ivermectin is quite toxic. Like it can kill the parasites, but it has its various side effects. So they identified or they developed a less toxic form that's called as an ivermectin. Then this has been approved in 1981 for the use of veterinary medicine for the parasitic infection in livestock and domestic pets, like in many of the pets kind of thing, like and lice and all those things, it has been widely used. So by this time, Merck has spent a lot of money on this development of this project, and veterinary medicines is not going to generate this much revenue what Merck has spent. Then William Campbell, uh, again, who was working with Merck, he also identified there is a human parasite that cause an infection called as river blindness. I'll spend few minutes on the river blindness. So river blindness is a disease that happened to the some part of Africa. I don't recall the river name. So what it has been there is that people who were residing near that river, after certain age, they used to get blind. And as no drugs and all those things were there, and they used to say that okay, that's a curse kind of thing. And people after certain age, like it's not immediate, or certain things are there, and people used to get blind. But when William Campbell and they identified is that one of the parasite is that which flows through that, or like which flows through that excreta of the infected persons, and which comes through that river, and whoever drinks that contaminated water, parasite is getting absorbed into the body. And once it's states goes into the body, then it starts growing, and at certain stage it goes to the uh, near eyes, and they kill, they damage the retina, and thereby they become blind. So here William Campbell, they developed the drug, and they try, and they could able to treat river blindness. And river blindness was a dreadful disease, and close to 6 lakh people are there, were suffering from river blindness, and which they got cured, or cured for this from the disease by using of ivermectin. And for this reason, Merck has, like, as Africa they cannot afford a newer drug kind of thing, so Merck has given, even today Merck is freely distributing ivermectin in that particular area for the treatment of river blindness. And for this reason, both Satoshi Amura, who discovered the ivermectin, and William Campbell, who found a disease for the river blindness, they got Nobel Prize in Physiology in 2015. They shared the Nobel Prize with a lady who also, like, she got some breakthrough for malaria. But I'll say here is that, see, again, it is not on a this doesn't, or the development of ivermectin is not, or didn't follow what a commercial setup, or see, nobody will, or I'll say that if I see, or if I see from the at this point, if I go look at the invention of ivermectin, nobody cared to develop a drug for river blindness. But yes, by keep on working with several years, they found that, okay, so this can create, or this can, it's not, it doesn't create a value, but it gives life to several people. So it takes years. Like, we know that when in a commercial setup, in an organization, it takes, we say that 8 to 10 years to develop a product. I have worked on a product which we started working in 2009, and that got approved in 2020. So close to 11 years it took for the development from, and 2009 you can consider another couple of years, where it's a concept brainstorming kind of thing. So it takes several years of time to come to a conclusion. But uh, I will suggest everyone to give a thought on this. Like, see, many people, if there is no concept, it doesn't come there. Like, Einstein also said once, like, ships are safer when they are in the harbor. So we have to take some amount of risk, or we have to do some kind of research which should give, or then only it will give some like advantage to the patients suffering from several diseases. And after this, I'll say, like, what is the real area where we can work, like, for the mostly for the ideation, where we can work, or where is the scope. So we have seen like the lifespan, like in the earlier 20th century, the average lifespan was around 20 years, 20 or 21 years, and now it is close to 70 to 80 years globally. And it has been reported or recorded is that the person born after 2000 in US is going to live more than 100 years. But are the deaths, like, that is a, like, I'll say that that is a phenomenal increase in the lifespan. And also uh, that also gives us, say that okay, we have come done lot of things with respect to controlling the disease. But death due to disease is keeps on increasing. It's not slowing down since last 30 years, like for which we have statistical records. It keeps on increasing. It never stops, or it never lowers year over year. The more diseases are due to cardiovascular, cancer, respiratory, neonatal disease. diarrhea, and digestive. So these are the few of the key areas where more deaths are there. So if there is a there are deaths, or so then there is a disease. So certainly there is a scope to identify, or there is a scope to understand the disease better. So I'll say that, do we understand the mechanism of action? Is During my talk, I took several times the Dolo 650, which is a paracetamol. It's an acetaminophen. Do you know, like, although it is been the been part of our pharmacology book, that okay, so this works this way, but as of now, age of 2022, the mechanism is not determined. It is a theory. What we are studying, that is a theory. It is never established. So acetaminophen or paracetamol, which is being widely used, which is being used as a OTC, over the counter, we don't need a prescription for this. Still, we don't know how really it works. So generally in India, we don't get a leaflet or the package insert for each and every medications. But in the Western countries, like be it US, Europe, you get a package insert, like that is a kind of booklet kind of thing. If you buy 10 tablets also, they will give you. If you buy 100 tablets also, they will give you one booklet with each and everything. Uh, so there it is known that it is the mechanism is very very like, for most of the drugs it is not understood properly. uh, then different mechanism for the same indication. So this is a list of close to 80 drugs, and these are for the treatment of pain. So I want to say is that for pain there are 80 molecules are there, and there are there are different category: NSAID, opioid, mixture opioid, anticonvulsant, antidepressant, muscle relaxant, corticosteroids. Still there is a requirement of uh, strong requirement of your uh, painkillers, or because every painkillers has their own disadvantage. Like for example, ketorolac, which is being used for the dental purpose. This is it has been that you cannot use beyond 7 days. You cannot use opioid analgesic uh, because this is being addictive in nature. So I'm saying is that there are certain things that there which we really need to understand. Is there any can we have a NSAID which will have a lesser side effect on the GI tract? Still there is a requirement. Adverse event and or contraindications. For every drug we see there is a every drug there is a some adverse event or contraindications. Itraconazole, which is a widely used antifungal drug, this has several adverse events, like it has a cardiac disorder, hepatobiliary disorder, and you cannot use this along with if you are suffering from this kind of if you have a comorbidities like this, you cannot use itraconazole. So for antifungal, what we can use? Then contraindication. So if you use along with several drugs, that may lead to the increased plasma concentration of certain things. Even you cannot use itraconazole along with your atorvastatins. So there are certain challenges are there with respect to each and every drug. So there is a scope. Can we have a itraconazole with less adverse event or less contraindications? Can we develop certain things, like can we make a certain capsule, or can we make a certain tablet? Can we make a certain injectable? Can we make something which can be a better antifungal drug, or better than the itraconazole? Rare disease. This is one of my close to my heart. Like this, I am really working on this area. Rare disease, maybe we might be knowing that there are certain people are there which are suffering from certain disease, which is for which we really don't know the cause, or many a time we say that, okay, oh, this is some disease are there which, okay, so one or two cases are there. So according to US FDA, it has been classified is that if some disease or conditions are there which affects uh, less than 2 lakh people in US, that's called as a rare disease. Do you know there are 7,000 rare diseases are there which affects less than 2 lakh people in US? Thank you to everyone. And what I want to say here is that uh, there are a lot of scopes are there, and if there is a good health, there is a good life, and both are important for the mankind to survive. And I want to say here is that there are a lot of scopes are there. Yes, it may take time, but I want everyone to contribute to the society by doing research on these aspects. There are a lot of scopes are there. Come with any prototypes, or come with any ideas, and work on those things. I think that will give benefit, maybe not our generation, but maybe it can benefit next generation. For example, if nitroglycerin was not invented in 1847, it could have killed so many people. Like it nitroglycerin saved so many people. Like the moment somebody is having an angina, just give a tablet on the sublingual, and they get cured immediately. So I would say is that it takes time, but I'd say is that working in these research area. And I want to say thank you, Poonam, and thank you, sir, for the giving me the opportunity and sharing my experience. And I'd really eager to work with you. And if you have some other questions, I'm ready to take up. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for inconvenience. Because of electricity issue, we have.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Uh, so, I would like to ask participant: is there any question on the session? You can post it in YouTube chat box. Okay. I think so. There is no more questions. So, we'll conclude with the session.
thank you, Punam.
Yeah, so I would like to take this opportunity to give away vote of thanks on this online webinar on prototyping, that is process, prototype design and development, organized by IIC, IQAC, and REDC of Kunkang and Pit Rahul Dhaka College of Pharmacy and Research Institute, Karjat. Sujit sir has vast experience and still sir has introduced himself as a student. So that is a great attitude I think everyone should have. As Dr. Abdul Kalam also said, never stop learning because life never stops teaching. So sir, you have a great attitude and really we appreciate and we hope that our student also develop such kind of attitude. Sir has also shared in his presentation about good health, highest selling drugs, drug development process in detail that involves in vitro, in vivo testing from basic research to early discovery to preclinical, then human testing, then clinical development from phase 1 to phase 2, phase 3, then FDA review and phase 4 clinical trials. Sir has also shared that to get one successful drug at the last, the developer has to invest lots of money in billion dollars, and also lost lots of time. And at the last, if the failure of such is going to be happen, it is like a disaster for a developer. So there is a need of using prototyping. Sir has shared examples of product which are withdrawn from the market. You know, the huge money has and time has spent on this, and at last, because of the safety reasons, they are withdrawn from the market, like Contagion, Veldecoxib, Rofecoxib, Ranitidine, Lorcaserin, etc. And here we can find why the prototyping is important. Sir has also shared in his presentation about the new product development processes in detail, that is from idea generation to product definition, then prototyping, detailed designing, validation and testing, and commercialization. By giving a very fantastic example that many people used, a steroidal drug, that is clobestol propionate cream. Sir has very nicely explained where the product can be increased. The idea has been shared by sir, and that is the example of prototyping. So prototyping that involve proof of concept, looks like, acts like, then detailed designing, and lastly the commercialization of product. In this way, the new product development process takes place. At last, Sir has shared the success stories of drugs like nitroglycerin and ivermectin. So these are the two example where we can see how the new use of the drugs has been introduced. We say that there is a very limited chances for the development of new drug, but the sir has very nicely explained all the things that there are lots of things that we are still not aware of it. So, sir, thank you so much for your efforts that you have taken on this occasion. You have very beautifully covered this session, as it is very challenging topic. That is prototyping, very new topic for us. So thank you so much, sir, that you have you have prepared a simplified presentation. You have clarified the concepts by giving very simple examples like Dolo 650, paracetamol, nitroglycerin, which are the people that use day to day. Thank you, sir, for your precious time and knowledge sharing with us. We hope this association will be in future also.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. I'm
Uh,
thankful to management of Kokang and Pitrauldaga College of Pharmacy and Research Institute. Without their support, it wouldn't be possible to continue to exhibit this program. My sincere regards to our respected Dr. Mohan Kale, sir, Principal of Kokang and Pitrauldaga College of Pharmacy and Research Institute, Karzat, for his continuous motivation and guidance to us. Next, my thanks to my team, my teaching staff that continuously works, and their support is there in organizing such events. Lastly, my hearty thanks to all the participants who continuously attained our programs. And now I would like to say that I have shared this feedback link. I think most of the participants have filled. You will get the certificate of this program, and the link would be get closed very soon. That is, within 5 minutes, you have to fill this feedback form. So I think this program is concluded over here. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
time
Thank
and
you.
knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.